All right, now we're ready to make a duplicate for the English site. I'll walk you through making a duplicate, unlinking the translation, editing the English content, editing the portfolio grid, saving and publishing the file. Here we are back on our video test page. We use a plugin for WordPress called WPML, WordPress Multi-Language, and this gives us this box here, which tells us different things about the translations. This is telling us this is a Danish version of this entry, which is correct. We don't have to worry about professional translation. We want to look down at this box here. It would make sense to just click on Translate. That's not what we do. If we click on Translate, it'll take us to basically a blank page that's set up like this. We want to click on Duplicate, and what we're doing is making a duplicate of this page, which will not have this ending on the URL because it's English and the root is an English site, and it will give us all the content of the page on the English site. Great. To access that page, we can see now this says we have an English duplicate, and so we can just click on that pencil icon. We can also come up here under the Danish English switcher and switch back and forth. That will actually, because these pages are linked, this will actually switch back and forth between the Danish and English version of that film page video test. The first thing we want to do is look back at this language box. This now says this is a duplicate, and we want to translate this independently. If we don't click on this and came in here and let's say edited this and made this English text here in the tabs, that's also going to change the text back on the original Danish page. We don't want that to happen. We want to translate these two pages independently, so it's very important to click on that box for future updates to these pages. Now it's telling us this is still a translation. That means they're still linked up, and we can click back and forth here between the Danish and English versions of that page. We haven't really done anything to them yet. So here we're going to wait for it. So this is the English page. We want to change the title here. Since this is in English already, I'm just going to change it to video test so we can see that it is a different page than the Danish page. And I'm going to change this also to video tests. Sometimes these permalinks tag numbers after them and things like that. You don't have to worry about that right now. Just make sure this reflects the title of the new page that you've made in English. We want to do the same thing that we did to the other page. We'll just edit this text if we need to change the title. We don't need to change the video. That's still the same video coming from Vimeo. We can tell by that number. And then we want to just edit, again, the information and the credits in these text box. Don't forget to change these job titles here. They get overlooked sometimes in the credits. Save those once they're updated. And this is something different that we have to do on these English pages right now. This may be something that I set up automatically in the future. It's not set up now. You need to change this to English on these two tags. This here should say recent corporate films. This one should say see all films in English. And make sure on this is underlined because it's a link. It's linking to our film archive page here. Just make sure that that's still underlined and you don't take that link off there. Then we want to open up the portfolio grid. This grid is what's giving us the films that show up at the bottom of each individual film page. In this case, these are all the most recent corporate films. So we're just going to select corporate. You can see that these are all those categories that we made, including the most recent one, somewhere in there that says video test. Here. Leave these settings the same. This is telling us we only want the title there, different things. Save that. This video test is still clicked here. You actually want to unclick that, add a new category. This is in English again. Even though that was clicked, that was still coming from the Danish page. Make sure you do this. The featured image stays the same. And again, we should look at the SEO to make sure it's saying what we want. It still has the same title as the Danish one. This meta description, again, this here will be coming from the tab content, which we've now changed to English, but we may want to update that, and we do that here. Which will be reflected in any kind of Google search that's searching directly for this. Corporate, the focus keyword again could be corporate film here. Don't worry about that stuff too much now. It's more important that these are set correctly on the main pages of the site that people come into. And we can look at this excerpt. This should also be changed to English. Then we can save draft. And we can preview it. We'll look at our preview, which is as it should be. English title, English credits and info, if we had updated it. All this information is correct here. And if we had already published this page, we could then switch back and forth between the Danish and English versions of this entry. Right now, if we do that, it's not going to work. But once it's published, we can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this. Just to show you quickly what happens when you do that. I'm going to go to the Danish entry as well. You can see we're on the Danish one, and I'm going to publish this as well. You have to publish both pages, they don't link that way. Now if I look at the page, here's our video test. This is live on the site now, so if I go back and forth between the English and Danish, they're linked. And if I now look at the film archive, this should be the most recent entry. I don't want that there now. So I can come here, make it into a draft again, save it, and do the same thing on the English entry. Here, I'm going to just change the status from published to draft. That takes it off the live site, but I still have the pages. And if we now look back at our film archive and reload the page, that should be gone. But if we look at our portfolio items, and if we want to look at the drafts, then we can see that this is still in a page, and we can edit it from here as well. That's the English one. And then if we go to the Danish, here's the Danish version of it. Just to be a little bit more familiar with this portfolio item list, it gets a bit confusing with these language tags and what they mean. Right now, I'm on the Danish pages. This is not an option, which means also tells me I'm on the Danish pages. This is showing me all the pages that I have in Danish. and they're all listed here. It's very important that all these profile pictures are always listed first. And this video test, as you can see, came at the end of that. That's a setting that I have on here. These are all profiles, and then we start the corporate films from here, and you can see that these are the tags that I gave that draft here. And the pencil mark by it, again, means that there is an English translation of this. This English flag is showing you that if there is an English translation or not. That's not showing you that you're on the Danish pages. Then if I go to the English site, it's the opposite. It's showing me that here are the Danish translations of these, whether they're with a pencil or with these arrow icons. You can see this test down here, which is our English version of that we just made, has a pencil icon by it, and that can again lead directly to editing that Danish entry that we just made. So there's different ways of accessing these pages. And as soon as you want to publish it, you just hit publish. That's all. If you have any questions, send me an email, give me a call.